Recently, as I've been playing the Attack on Titan tribute game, I've come to realize that the concept that the Attack on Titan universe is centered around is set up to be an amazing video game. Pretty much everything from the way the 3 years spent at Trainee Corps acts as an extended tutorial, to the idea of getting better at 3DMG through practice, to keeping a personal record of your kill count and assist count, to killing enemies that scale in difficulty by aiming for a specific vital point, all feel like video game mechanics. Through the Attack on Titan tribute game, we now know that not only can this universe be an effective video game model, but it can also make a very fun standalone game. But there's more to Attack on Titan than just being able to play with 3DMG in a huge forest and occasionally killing, or being killed by, large titans. One of the most compelling reasons to play the Attack on Titan tribute game has been the multiplayer feature. Since its addition into Feng's game, and also due to several graphical enhancements, Feng's tribute game has soared in popularity, being played by Yogscast, LAN Party, and other high-profile YouTubers on a regular basis. The most viewed YouTube videos of the tribute game are almost always, without doubt, multiplayer games with cries such as "For Humanity" or at least a collective salute at the start of the video. All of this points to one thing: that the biggest reason many people play an Attack on Titan game isn't to kill titans, or even to play with 3DMG. It's to feel the togetherness of being in a squad, saving each other's lives while trying to end a threat on all humanity. It's got scale, it's got heart, and it's a grand setting for a multiplayer game. In that case, let's jump straight to the grandest setting for a multiplayer game possible: the MMO. If we look at any generic MMO, there's specific traits that nearly all of them have, or at least echoed in some form or another. We'll be looking at possibly the biggest three: the Trinity, Story, and Leveling. Let's start with the Trinity. Most MMOs have adopted a system that helps players feel as though they are accomplishing a destined role, by picking a class that's designed to do one thing only. This thing is generally one of three: a tank, a healer, and someone who deals high damage per second, or DPS. These three are collectively called the Hard Trinity. The tank distracts enemies and takes their attacks, the DPS deals damage as fast as they can so the enemy goes down quicker, and the healer makes sure that all of them, and especially the tank, stays alive. This means that everyone has a little something to do that nobody else can do, making the player's role unique and valuable, and when the three of them work together, even difficult bosses can be easily defeated. But let's take a look at the way Attack on Titan has shown its enemies to be like. We can all agree that the tank's job would be effectively worthless. Fair enough, distracting the enemy seems quite feasible, and the term bait is often used within the anime. But the idea of taking attacks by having a high armor stat or having a large health pool seems ridiculous. If you've been stomped on by a Titan, the chances are you're dead. If you've been grabbed by a Titan, the chances are you're going to die very soon. A tank's ability to withstand multiple attacks from an enemy would be useless when all of the Titan's attacks are one-hit kills. The healer, for the same reason, would be pointless. When there are no health bars in the game, then what exactly can the healer heal? Even in the anime, a wounded soldier is shown to have lost an arm or a leg, not a scratch on the face. How exactly can a healer cause such horrible wounds to recover? We come then to DPS. This is perhaps the only part of the Trinity that makes a fair amount of sense in Attack on Titan, as the depth of the slice is generally shown to be an important part in a soldier's asset. However, it only takes one well-placed attack on the back of the neck to kill a Titan. What is required here is not damage per second, but instead damage as a whole. All that being said, we've pretty much determined that the classic Trinity is worthless in a game that portrays the Attack on Titan universe. So what else is there? Let's look at Attack on Titan. No one graduates from the Trainee Corps as a healer or a tank. Everyone graduates as a Titan killer, a damage character to boot. There's no space for role definition in the Attack on Titan universe. Everyone must kill Titans or they're not soldiers. But characters like Marco, who says that he would rather act as distraction until those who are better at killing Titans arrive, throw off the everyone's a damage character system. Clearly there's room for teamwork, but if it's not from the classical Trinity, then what else is there? The Soft Trinity is based around the ability for players, rather than being defined to a specific role, to adapt to the situation and use their strengths accordingly. Placed in the Attack on Titan universe, it allows everyone to be a Titan killing soldier without giving up secondary roles, such as helping others or distracting Titans, solving the dilemma in a canon and mechanically fun manner. 2012's Guild Wars 2 uses the idea of a Soft Trinity, and although this concept has been used elsewhere since then and before then, Guild Wars 2's developers, ArenaNet, established a new Trinity based around support, control, and damage. Control, by looking at the Attack on Titan tribute game, we already know can work. Marco's special is often claimed to be the best multiplayer special for having the ability to manipulate a large number of titans at once, and Armin's stun, although mostly ineffective, can also be very powerful if used correctly. In a game where dangerous one-hitting creatures possibly roam around every corner, the ability to manipulate titans is very powerful and much needed. Control is pretty much a soft version of tanking. Rather than actually taking the hits, however, you're just making sure the titan doesn't try hitting anyone else. Support is a bit trickier, but can still be attained. Up until now, we haven't seen a complete support special in Feng's game. The closest is Eren's ability to transform into a titan, but even that is far more selfish than going out of your way to help others kill titans. However, the anime provides easy examples of support, the most prominent being the ability to blind titans. By robbing the titan of sight, it no longer has the ability to aim for nearby humans and can be killed far easier. If a dedicated support character could somehow blind titans easier, or slice their Achilles heel with more accuracy, then this would go a long way in helping others, specifically the damage characters, in killing titans. That leaves us with damage. Perhaps the most interesting part about this is the fact that in Feng's tribute game, damage is a completely arbitrary number decided by your speed before you slice the nape out of the titan. All titans die due to a minimum of 10 damage being dealt to it. It could be removed from the game and nothing would have to be changed. There's no fun to that. I propose that an Attack on Titan MMO would require higher damage in order to kill larger titans. Sure, any lackey can kill smaller titans, but when it comes to a proper 15-meter titan, it would require some 1 or maybe even 2 damage characters in order to properly kill it. The final question comes then to this: how exactly would your character be defined as a support, a control, or a damage character? By definition, as I've said before, graduates from the trainee corps would technically come out as the only playable class, the soldier. Therefore, it would be difficult to ensure that you are actually fulfilling your role as a support or a control or a damage if you yourself aren't sure which one you are. I personally think Feng's method of giving each character just one extra skill, a special attack skill, is amazing because it adds so much more to the game in terms of what your character does and what makes you feel different from the others, without adding a slew of skills and effects and all kinds of other things. In other words, it adds a lot more depth to the game without adding complexity, and also helps you keep your mind in killing the titans rather than worrying about cooldowns or other things. Unlike Feng's game, however, an MMO can't give your recently created character one of 10 random specials and expect you to stick with it for the rest of the game. In order to solve this new issue, I have to take you guys on a tangent to my next big topic, which is the story of the Attack on Titan MMO. The biggest issue regarding story would be the timeline. Is this before the fall of Shiganshina or after? Are you training with Eren, after Eren, or before Eren? I honestly think the MMO would be far better if we learned more about the characters' backgrounds and stories before Shiganshina's fall, than simply reiterating all the story that we pick up during the manga. Anyway, the tutorial would of course be your time spent at the trainee corps. A really cool moment, in my opinion, would be as the head trainer starts yelling at you, he asks you for your name, and that's basically when your character creation begins, kind of like in Skyrim, where as you're heading to your execution, you're asked what your name is, and that's when the character creation begins for Skyrim. As a further side tangent on storytelling, the standard MMO usage of quests, honestly, would be dodgy, as the anime never shows soldiers wandering from place to place, talking to barkeeps in order to gain money. Rather, soldiers stick to their own squads and squad leaders, hanging out in their headquarters and things like that. This does, however, feed into a completely different system that is also a part of MMOs, raids, and dungeons. Think about it, large-scale expeditions into enemy-held territory. Things are starting to sound really similar to your classic World of Warcraft raid. That's why I personally think large-scale dungeons and such should be the basis for storytelling. Adventures into the forest with your guild members, expeditions into the plains, and so on would be the perfect opportunity to create story-like environments without sacrificing fun adventures. Returning to the general story arc, there's also the issue of the military police, the garrison, and the survey corps. Should the player get control over their choice and pick which branch they want? Or are they automatically shunned to the survey corps because that's where all the titan killing happens? I'd love to see 3 distinct storylines based on each of the 3 military branches, but there's 2 big reasons that stop this from happening. 1 is production costs. 2 is a lack of exciting story material on the part of the military police and especially the garrison. Because of this, it'd probably be best for the game if everyone was kind of forced into the survey corps for some reason or the other. There is one method to unify the story, but still include this choice between the different branches, and that would be by putting everyone into the same conflict despite the choice. The details of the story would differ between the different branches, but everyone would be following the same arc. What I'm talking about is the massive, failed government attempt to take back War Maria. The Survey Corps would undoubtedly be involved, but we can also assume that garrison members would be asked to assist, and new military police members would also be involved, mainly due to the hierarchical system that the corrupt military police have put in place. This might be canonically dodgy, but it's at least a method of involving the big choice of choosing a military branch without increasing production costs too much. Now, where special attacks would become prevalent, to bring the discussion back from the tangent, would be as you progress through the story, you can meet NPCs who then give you their signature move. For example, if you meet Levi in the story, you can do a Levi's challenge. For this example, let's classify Levi as a damage character, which he probably would be. If you succeed in Levi's challenge, you gain his special, as well as gain an addition to your stats, so that you become a better damage character. So let's imagine the scenario. After you've beaten Levi's challenge, you could choose to accept the reward, and all of these are packed together as a single reward. You can't accept just one, you have to take all three at the same time. They'd be the Levi Copter as an option for a special, a permanent +4 to your speed stat, and a permanent -3 to your gas volume. This way your character would be great at killing titans, but would constantly have to refuel or else rely on a friend whose special would be carrying gas. The main purpose to this would be so that as you meet other high-profile NPCs like Rico, Pixis, Erwin, Mike, and so on, you can build up a particular set of stats by doing the challenges you need, and then picking and choosing whichever special is the most comfortable to you, avoiding leveling through what can be considered a fairly canon idea. Okay, so most of you who play MMOs probably did a massive double take when I said avoid leveling, and you'd be right to do so. Many MMOs incorporate leveling as a method of keeping players playing the game for as long as they can make money. However, looking at the Attack on Titan universe, there's some really big parts that simply do not fit with leveling. The first is this: leveling means grinding enemies. Even if it's an MMO that says it avoids grind, it probably forces you to grind at some point anyway. On the other hand, the nature of the enemies in Attack on Titan, the difficulty that humans are faced with when killing just one, inherently justifies why grinding would be the worst idea to ever be put in the Attack on Titan MMO. If the developers of this game actually cared and really wanted to create a compelling Attack on Titan experience, not a cheap knockoff that the 3DS game was, but something that can actually be enjoyed as much as the manga and the anime, then the Titans would have to be designed to be scary through their actions. Their ability to kill dozens of soldiers without being stopped should be reflected not only through their looks, but instead by actually killing dozens of soldiers before they are finally killed. Trying to grind on such difficult enemies wouldn't be fun, it'd be craziness. Therefore, by removing the necessity to level up in order to get better, there's no need to do continuous suicide runs into Titan territory in order to grind for experience. That's the first reason leveling doesn't fit in Attack on Titan. The second is because, as Feng's tribute game has shown, if 3DMG is added in a manner that actually requires mastery in order to be good at, then all of the character growth doesn't happen through number crunching or getting better gear, it happens through practice and constant 3DMG use. It's through killing Titans that you get better at killing Titans. Just as Erwin said to the graduating trainees, if you can survive against Titan for 5 years, then you'll become amazingly strong soldiers with a high survival rate. Therefore, not only is a lack of leveling canon, it also makes sense to a player who understands the way the Attack on Titan universe treats humanity's soldiers. There is, however, something tied to both storytelling and leveling that means a lot to the general MMO player: rewards. Sure, it's nice to get occasional rewards by doing challenges from famous NPCs, but what about from doing dungeons, raids, story missions? How can doing well in a dungeon lead to a better Attack on Titan experience? Well, here's my suggestion. Obviously, Titans wouldn't have loot drops, and obviously you wouldn't find a random treasure chest in the forest once you're done killing all the Titans. So there's no loot? Yep, there's no loot. What I suggest is how you're rewarded is inherently tied to how many Titans you killed, or, more importantly, how many Titans you assisted in killing. You put those numbers against the number of times you've died in-game, and you basically create a leaderboard that actually shows who, at any given time, is the best soldier in all of humanity. Most of you are probably thinking that's not a reward system, that's just a database, that's just a leaderboard system. But check this, the higher you are in the leaderboard, the more gold you get per hour. And gold would be pretty much the only currency in the game. And you could use it to buy, a better looking horse, or some cooler looking haircuts, or maybe even housing. The point is, it wouldn't actually affect your Titan killing abilities and doesn't make you any stronger than you already were. It would simply allow you to get better looking cosmetics. This could then be further tiered by locking off really amazing cosmetics to the top 10% in the leaderboard and allowing the best players to really show off their skills outside of the battlefield too. So, if you step into the Attack on Titan MMO, basically you wouldn't find any loot drops, and inventory system would pretty much be useless, and basically all of your rewards would be tied cosmetically. So if you're the kind of person who feels that bigger numbers inherently means you're a better character, then chances are the Attack on Titan MMO just isn't for you. It's about time to wrap the discussion up. An Attack on Titan MMO would be a great thing, but by the time it's finished, it would hardly look like an MMO at all. No health bars, no hotbar at the bottom of the screen that lists all of the skills that you can use, a more complex method to build your own character rather than simply pressing +1 to strength every time you level up, no leveling, a big redesign in terms of rewards, and frankly, it's about time the MMO scene really started to take huge risks in terms of design. Many recent MMOs have been lacking in creativity, following in the huge footsteps that games like World of Warcraft left behind, and stumbling far too often. In a universe like Attack on Titan, where multiplayer is natural and engaging, but all the other shackles that an MMO brings are restraining, perhaps it is possible to see something completely new develop and grow and be loved. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, share it with your friends and anyone else who you think will enjoy it. Comment, ask questions, please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.